Narayaneeyam, Dasakam 10, Explanation and Interpretation. This chapter deals with the variety of creation. Brahma started the creation and gave all the Atmas, each of them a body appropriate to the karma. He first created creepers and trees which are of a lower order so as to serve food for the mobile beings. The trees and creepers were rooted to their fixed positions. They were called sthavara, meaning stationary. Mobile beings are superior to the stationary beings. After creating trees and creepers, Brahma created animated beings like animals, birds, and the like. Amongst the class of animate beings, these are of the lower order. Amongst the animals again, there were many species like the horses, which are single-hoofed, cows, which are bi-hoofed, and birds and dogs and the like, which have 5 nails. Brahma next created the human beings, which are superior to the beings that we have said before, and human beings are more intelligent. Finally, he created the devas, who by their nature were predominantly composed of the sattva guna. To create all these beings, Brahma did not have the adequate power that he had acquired either by penance or by his own intelligence, nor did we have the required divine powers. It all happened solely due to the grace of the Lord. Shloka number 2 describes Brahma's creation of anger, pride, and this was created by Brahma because of his own ignorance. The fivefold effects of Brahma's ignorance were mithya graha, misapprehension, asmimati, egoism, raga as an attachment, vikopa, anger, and bhitihi, that is fear. All these were qualities of a tamasic nature. Brahma became distressed. He thought, alas, I have created these due to my ignorance, and the results from these will cause a lot of unhappiness in the world. He then resorted to contemplation, again meditation onto the feet of the Lord for self-purification and removal of that ignorance. Now, after his contemplation and meditation, Brahma got rid of his ignorance and he created out of a pure mind, from his own mind, he created the Sanakas, Sanaka, Sananda, Sanatana, and Sanat Kumara, the 4 Sanakas as we together call them. Brahma then requested them to engage themselves in the task of creation by adopting the dharma and the principles of creation. The Sanakas, they refused to undertake this task as their minds were already immersed in devotion to the Lord. The Sanakas did not want to take up the task of procreation because it would give them a cause to have attachment and bondage, and that is what they did not want. When his own sons, the Sanakas, refused his request, Brahma became very angry. Brahma tried to suppress his anger, but then he could not suppress it enough, and from the middle of his eyebrows was born Mrida. Mrida is also known as Rudra. Rudra is also known to be a partial incarnation of the Mahavishnu. When Rudra was born, he cried like a child, asking Brahma to give him a name. And the name Rudra arises from the word Rud, which means to cry. Rudra requested Brahma to give him further names and abodes to live in. Brahma now was confused, not knowing what names to give and what abodes to give, when Rudra cried aloud soon after birth. At that time, the Mahavishnu gave Brahma the knowledge to carry out this mission. So now Rudra was given 11 names, 11 different forms, and 11 abodes. Then, to each of these 11 Rudras, Brahma gave an affectionate wife to each one of them. After giving Rudra 11 different forms and 11 wives, Brahma politely asked them to go through the act of creation. Rudra, on receiving Brahma's command, started creating, by means of his 11 forms and an equal number of wives, numerous Rudras similar to him. These Rudras were all found to be riding bulls. They were wearing garlands made of Rudrakshas. They all wore serpents as their adornment. They had angry eyes. They were smeared with ashes. They were clad in tiger skin. They lived in cremation grounds. They were holding swords, axes, spears, skulls, and were surrounded by a host of ghosts and corpses. On seeing that the three worlds were likely to be filled up with these Rudras, which are frightful, Brahma started contemplating on the Lord out of fear. Next, Brahma asks Rudra to stop this process of creation and advises him do penance for the welfare of the world. Brahma thus freed Rudra from the task of creation. After Rudra stopped creation by obeying Brahma's command, he went into penance. Brahma further became desirous to continue the task of creation. His rajasic nature being at its peak at that time, his 10 sons, including Marichi, were born from his different organs. From Brahma's mind was born Marichi, from his eyes Atri, from his face Angirasa, from his hands Kratu, from his navel Pulaha, from his ears Pulastya, from his skin Bhrigu, from his breath was born Vasishta, and from his thumb was born Daksha, from his lap was born Narada. Sage Narada was endowed with all the 6 bhagas or the 6 gunas, the divine majesties like Aishwarya, power, fame, Shri, Jnana and Vairagya. This was because when Narada was created by Brahma, Brahma's Sattva Guna was at its peak. Brahma then created Dharmadeva from his right breast, Adharma, the spirit presiding over unrighteousness, and the god of death from his posterior, from his back. Brahma then created Kamadeva, the god of love, from his heart. Anger was created from his eyebrows, greed from his lips. Goddess Saraswati was created from his mouth, and Kardama Prajapati was created from his shadow. As soon as Goddess Saraswati was created, Brahma was afflicted with lust, seeing her beauty, and was ready to commit the sin of incest. Now, Sanakas, Daksha, and other sons of Brahma approached him with devotion and respect and pleaded with him to say that the action would be contrary to dharma. None had committed this sin before, and none will do it hereafter also. So to refrain from this evil. Greatly embarrassed on hearing their words from his own sons, Brahma withdrew from the sinful act. It is said in the Bhagavatam that Brahma discarded his body as he was embarrassed by the action that he was about to undertake. He then adopted another body. It is also said that this discarded body is the darkness that we see in all directions. It created the mist of darkness. Brahma now created out of his 4 mouths the 4 Vedas, Rig, Yajur, Sama and Atharva Veda, the Itihasas, the Puranas, which together are called the 5th Veda, and other branches of knowledge. It is stated in the Bhagavatam that Brahma created Rig Veda from the mouth facing the east, the Yajur Veda from that facing the south, the Sama Veda from that facing the west, and the Atharva Veda from that facing the north. He also created the Upavedas, Ayurveda, science of life, Dhanur Veda, science of archery, Gandharvam, that is the science of music, and Sthapatyam, science of architecture. He also created the 4 ashramas, that is the stages of life, Brahmacharyam, as in celibacy, Grihastham, state of the householder, the Vanaprastham, the dwelling in a forest, and the Sannyasam, that is a state of renunciation. Brahma then entrusted all these branches of knowledge created for the welfare of the world, to his own sons, Marichi and others. Now Brahma would need to concentrate further on the work of creation, so he entrusted to his sons the task of spreading all these disciplines in the world, which he thought would be the proper course of action. Later he observed that the beings that he created in these three worlds were not progressing satisfactorily despite all his efforts single-handedly. He further resorted to contemplation of the Lord's feet, and when he took refuge at the lotus feet of the Lord, and because of the grace of the Lord, he now understood how to multiply his creations. He divided his body into two. He took the male form on the left side and the female form on the right side. To them he gave the names Manu and Shatarupa respectively. Here Bhattadri addresses the Lord as Govinda, Maruta Puresha, and Bhattadri prays Nirundi Rogan. Please take away my ailments. Narayaneeyam, Dasakam number 10. Srishti Vedaha. Vaikunta balota bhavat prasadad ambojayo nirasrujat kila jiva dehan sthasnu niburuha mayani tathatirascham jater manushya nivahan apideva bedhan mitya grahasmi matiraga vikopa bhitihi Ajnana vrittim iti panchavidam cha srishtva uddhamatamasa padartha vidana dunaha tene tvadiya charana smaranam vishuddhyai tavat sasarja manasa sanakam sanandam bhuyas sanatana munim cha sanat kumaram te srishti karmani tu tena niyujyamanaha tvatpada bhakti rasika jagruhur navanim tavat prakopam uditam pratirundhato asya Bhrumadhyato ajanimrudo bhavadeka deshah namani me kurupadani cha havirincheti Adau ruroda khilatena sarudranama ekadasha ahvayataya cha vibhinna rupam rudram vidaya daita vanitascha dattva Tavantya datta cha padani bhavat pranunnah praha praja virachanaya cha sadaram tam Rudra Bisrishta Bayadakriti Rudra Sangha Sampuryamana Bhuvanatraya Bhita Chetaha Mama Prajasrija Tapaschara Mangalayeti Achashtatam Kamalabhur Bhavadiritatma Tasyata Sarga Rasikasya Marichir Atrihi Tatrangirah Kritamunih Pulaha Pulastyah Angad Ajayata Bhruguscha Vasishta Dakshau Srinaradascha Bhagavan Bhavadangridasah Dharmadikan Abhisrujan Atakardamancha Vanim Vidhaya Vidirangaja Sankulo Abhut Tvadbhodiktais sanaka daksha mukhaisthanujaihi udboditascha viraramatamo vimunchan Vedan Purana Nivahan api sarva vidya kurvan nijanana ganas chaturana asau putreshu teshu vinidhaya cha sarga vruddhim aprapnuvanstava padambujam ashrito abhut Janan upayam atadeham ajo vibhajya stripum sabhavam apajan manutad वधूभ्यां ताभ्यां च मानुषकुलानि विवर्धयन्स्त्वं गोविन्द मारुतपुरेश निरुन्धिरोगान् नारायण अखिलगुरो भगवन्नमस्ते।